What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into the Death of Doctor Strange, X-Men Black Knight tie-in. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with the Death of Doctor Strange, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series, and that includes every single tie-in. This is definitely an issue you're not going to want to miss, because we're going to find out about Dane's daughter, A.K.A. Jax, A.K.A. the Black Knight, currently sharing the power with her father, carrying the curse together in Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade. We saw how all of this transpired, and Dane created what he calls the Ebony Siege. While his daughter is out there wielding the sword, they use these conjoined. As he sits in this seat, he is given visions, giving her better opportunities on the battlefield. With them being able to communicate, they continue to share this burden. So while one of them is out in the field, the other sits on the throne. But this is her first mission out. So let's find out how she does. Make sure you stay all the way through to the end of the comic, because there is a huge revelation. Be sure to buy the comic, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up and all hell is breaking loose. With the X-Men on the scene, they are doing everything they can to save as many people as possible. With the death of Doctor Strange, the barrier that protects this planet has fallen, and so all over the world, they are getting attacked from various kingdoms, from various dimensions. With all of the forces divided, most individuals are left to their own. The X-Men had been in London trying to take care of some business. That is, when the sky began to fall. And with Dane sitting in the siege, he is learning what happened. He sees the death of Doctor Strange, recognizing with his death, the magical barrier that protects everything, it has fallen. And with the X-Men being in London a couple days ago, they haven't been heard since. Ever since the sky fell, there's been no communication with this X-Men team. Now, with Dane not really sure that his daughter is ready yet, just really finding out about each other, this is all new to both of them. But he's giving her the opportunity, with her going out there and wielding the Ebony Blade. And with him sitting on the siege, this is where he gets a vision from the past. A young boy grabbing a sword and pulling it from the stone. An old wizard standing nearby, a wizard that can only be known as Merlin. And when that blade had been pulled from the stone, a dark cloud hung above the city. And Merlin learns that this is a world, a demon world, being drawn towards after the sword had been pulled from the stone. But Merlin has consulted everyone he can, and he ensures Arthur that the Excalibur blade, it is not responsible for what is happening here. That it is supposed to push back darkness, not attract it. And so unaware of what is drawing in this world, Merlin lets us know that this place has a name, and it is known as the Hungry Land. That is what ate London 2 days ago. And so with the Black Knight ready to charge into battle, this is where it all begins. Jumping into the Hungry Land, she goes looking for the X-Men. And as soon as she arrives, she sees a bunch of individuals that resemble our X-Men, but they are known as the Hungry Court, twisted and manipulated by the Hungry Land. They have become the champions of Hungry Land. They are the defenders. And right now, the Black Knight is their foe. Recognizing that she is 100% out of her depth, This is where we see Faiza, the wielder of Excalibur, comes in and grabs her, believing that it is Dane this whole time, wondering why his voice sounds different and why he sounds British. Dane tells his daughter to just say that it's a mask, it's a new helmet, and that's why it sounds so distorted. But now having the Ebony Blade and Excalibur in the same place, they are ready to show the X-Men, to show the hungry court exactly what they can do. With Dane telling his daughter to just follow her lead, that she is an expert, she knows exactly what she is doing, and you can learn a lot from her. But of course, being young, being dumb, she does not adhere to this advice. Jumping onto her steed, she flies up into the air, saying that she will take care of this, going guns blazing into battle. And with Jax getting into this battle, Dane lets her know that he learned from Merlin's memories, that this place, it remakes reality. That he knows she has every intention of saving the X-Men, but it might be too late for them, because they're not just enslaved. Their whole reality has been changed. Their entire backstory is completely different. All enslaved to one individual, Necromon, the hungry shade of a dead god. And tells her that he's not saying she can't do this, but she might be out of her depth. That this is his world, his rules. Saying to head back, get some help, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have an opportunity. But we see her get blasted out of the sky, with the X-Men, or what was the X-Men, coming and descending down on top of her. She gets saved at the last minute, with Faiza coming in and asking her, what the heck are you doing? Because at this point, she still thinks that it's Dane. They've worked together before, they know how to operate, and she's wondering why you're acting this way. Why you're just jumping into the battlefield acting like you know exactly how to handle the situation when you almost just got yourself killed. And even after all of this, she tries jumping back into the fight, just not learning her lesson, whatever the problem may be. She is being an absolute freaking idiot and just getting pummeled. And as they try to make their escape, this is where we see what was Polaris come in, try to use her power to take the swords. But we see the swords, they cross, and with them touching one another, a giant blinding light comes from it. Not really sure what that was. The transformed Polaris has been taken down. Neither of them questioning this because Rogue and Sync are hot on their tail. And their biggest fear is those two catching up to them, they will copy the power of the sword. They will have the power of both Excalibur and the Ebony Blade. And this is where we see the Black Knight. She turns around and from her comes a small explosion, pushing back both of those mutants. It appears that the Ebony Blade has tantrum magic. Now Faiza tries to let her know that you need to stop rushing into this battle and stop trying to fight this on your own, with her convinced that she can fight this alone, that she is better by herself. She goes in to fight, and only for Necromon to come down and smash the crap out of her. And we are seeing her just get her butt handed to her. She is lucky that she is even alive at this point, but she is learning some very valuable lessons. First of all, if you're gonna be the Black Knight, you need to learn how to be the Black Knight. You need to listen to Dane and those around you who know what they're talking about. Because at this point, she is just making a mockery of the Black Knight. And that's a lot, saying that the Black Knight, Dane, is made a mockery by everyone else in the superhero community. But Dane begins to get a vision of what will truly stop this. The story is not about laying in the sword. The story is about the stone. Merlin not being able to accept that Excalibur being pulled from the stone is what caused this to happen. Arthur begged him to put Excalibur back. He took a different path, a barrier around the world, a legacy for the Magi of this world, a duty pass from Sorcerer Supreme to the next to hold these demon spheres at bay. And with Doctor Strange dying, this barrier that protected the planet, it was brought down. Nobody was there to maintain the barrier spell, all because Merlin wanted to keep the glorious sword known as Excalibur. But it wasn't just that, it was also the Starstone. Taking the boulder, they broke it down and they reforged it. The boulder was the Starstone, and it is what is used to make the ebony items. And so the Black Knight essentially is a magnet for evil, and with Excalibur unable to even hurt this monster because it is his realm and his rules. You can't kill what is already dead. Now this is where the Black Knight starts to put some things together. If Rogue and Sync, they can copy people's powers, they might be able to use this. Charging full speed at them, they get devoured. But in getting devoured, this frees both Rogue and Sync, because those swords, the power in those swords, made them impervious to any changes on this planet, or in this realm if you will. And so with the two of them being free, taking this power, Rogue makes her way to Jean Grey, stealing her power. With a giant explosion, Rogue and Sync, they free everyone from this grasp, freeing everyone from this reality bend. And now it is the X-Men Black Knight versus Necromon. But even with all of these forces now on their side, they still cannot bring down this monster. And this is where Jax gets an idea. A pretty bad idea, but if this idea works, it's going to solve their problem. Telling Faiza if she would just have their swords clash together, this may draw away all of this evil. With her agreeing, we see Excalibur lunge towards the Black Knight, but instead of being met by the ebony blade, Jax, she takes the sword directly into her chest. And with doing so, we see Necromon completely obliterated, and Excalibur still stuck in the chest of the Black Knight. We see Faiza use some molecular control, be able to cauterize arteries, block all the paths so the Black Knight does not die, but the sword stays in her chest, because the Black Knight is the living embodiment of the Starstone. What they are essentially doing is taking Excalibur and putting it back into the stone. This will drive away those worlds, the ones that have been drawn here, like Hungryland. This will officially push out all of the evil dimensions that have been trying to come here. Instead of depending on the barrier, the sword is now back where it belongs. At least for the time being, Jax is going to continue to hold this sword in her chest. And if you're wondering how she has become the stone, it is because when you wield a magical item, you start to become that item. And that is exactly what has happened to both Dane and Jax. They are the stone. Now the X-Men, they don't want to just leave her here, but Dane and Jax, they let them know that this right now is a global effort. Dane can see all of it happening all over the world, and that if things don't actually work out, it won't matter who Excalibur's sticking out of, everything will die. The child is on his way. The mothers are on their way. With Jax letting them know that she really is okay and she's going to continue to hold the sword in her chest until everything can be taken care of. And with the X-Men making their exit, both Jean Grey and Sync, they have a conversation, asking if they sensed it. When Sync had borrowed the powers from Jax, he felt it. He felt something that she didn't even know. She had never been in a situation where it had to be triggered. Not sure if they should tell her just yet. They're gonna wait until all of this is done. With her just recently becoming the Black Knight, with the world about to end, it's a lot to throw onto somebody's plate, especially when you have Excalibur sticking out of your chest. And so when things get a little bit calmer, they are going to let Jax, the Black Knight, know that she is in fact a mutant. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This, for me, is arguably the best tie-in from the death of Doctor Strange. Probably the best issue from the death of Doctor Strange. Because we are learning that Jax, the Black Knight daughter of Dane, is in fact a mutant. Now, it questions, is Dane in fact a mutant? Or is this completely separate that only she has the X gene? And if she has the X gene, is the tantrum magic actually from the Ebony Blade? Or does Jax just have tantrum magic because she is a mutant? Now, we're definitely going to be figuring more about this as the story progresses. And with the MCU bringing in the Black Knight, this could very easily be our connection to mutant kind in the MCU. Now, we're completely unsure up to this point if they are in fact going to use that as an option, but we know the Black Knight and Dane are being introduced into the MCU. It only stands that eventually his daughter is going to show up. At least that's my theory on what's going to happen, and that might very well be our segue into mutant kind. But as it stands for the comics, it is solidified that the Black Knight is a mutant, and it is going to be a very interesting story once we dive into that. But carrying the Ebony Blade and being a mutant, that is going to make her super OP, arguably an Omega level mutant. Because we've seen the Black Knight knock out Thor, knock him out cold, and that's without any kind of extra mutant ability. If she is in fact a mutant, if she is in fact going to carry the title of the Black Knight, it could be absolutely brutal for anybody that actually stands in her way once she figures out the full potential she has. Now, we could see her lay down the Ebony Blade after finding out she is a mutant, which would be a very interesting course of action. Because I've never really been a big fan of Jax taking over as the Black Knight. Sharing it, I think, was the best way for them to go without people being outraged. But if she is a mutant, she may lay down the blade, and that may make room for Dane to pick up as the full-time Black Knight as she figures out her mutant kind and what this all means for her moving forward. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.